Alright, cool. So we did the list view where we saw a bunch of pets. So now I want to do it where I can click this button and then go to a specific pet. So we'll come back to this in a second, but we're going to do some stuff. Alright, so first off, I'm going to make my pet details component. So I'm going to do ng-gc, which says ng generate component. I'm put in the components folder, and I'm going to call it pet detail. Okay, don't get too hung up on these names. Just find a name that makes sense. Alright, cool, I got a pet detail component. Sweet. So, now you may be thinking, well, how does Angular know, like, what component to put on the screen? Like, how does it know to be able to go from one component to the next component? It knows that by a thing called routing. Alright, so we're going to go to our app-routing.module.ts. Alright, and so we've got this, on line 4, we've got this property called routes. And it's an array. And each route is an object. So you do objects in JavaScript, remember we do curly brace, and it will have a path, which will be a string, and it'll have a component, which will be the component we want to show. So for example, if I want to have a path to the list of pets, I'm going to do list pets component, and the path will be list pets. So that means that when someone types in our website, and then at the end they put list pets, they'll go to the list pets component. Now, I also need a path for my details. So we're going to do path, and then we're going to do pets detail, and then we're going to do slash, then colon ID, because remember, pets detail needs that ID in order to display a specific pet. So I got to have that here. So the component it's going to go to is the pet details component. Alright, and then this is basically what it should look like. You've got list pets and then pets detail. I also want to add a redirect. So basically when someone comes to the website, I just want to automatically show a list of pets. So I'm going to do path. And then I'm going to do blank here, because remember, blank means just the base URL, right? Localhost, port 4200, and nothing else. I'm going to do redirect to list pets. And then I'm going to do, I think it's URL match. Let's see, what was it? There's one more property I could put in here. Where was it? Path match. Okay. Don't get path match means how much of the of it like can I match and just have it still recognize it. Yeah, full. Right. So that means that when the person first comes to our website, they'll automatically be redirected to the list of pets component. No slash there, good. Right, so that remember, path being blank means it's the index page, like the first page. When they go there, they'll automatically be redirected to the list of pets, and then list pets will be for the list pets component, and pets detail with this colon ID will go to the pets detail component and pass in an ID. Alright, so we've got our routes pretty much set up. So remember, app-routing.module.ts is where you're going to set up your routes for pretty much any component that you need in your app. Alright, I'm going to save this. I'm going to remove some of this clutter up top. Alright, so I've got my routing module. So I got my routing done. So I'm going to go into my component, and let's start working on the pet detail component. Well, I know I need my service, so I'm going to do private service API service. Remember, the API service has the logic for me to get a pet by its ID, so I'm going to need that as a dependency. I'm also going to need this other thing called activated route, which comes built into Angular. It helps us to grab that ID that's being passed in. Alright, so let's build out this component first. Alright, so I know that this component is going to show a pet. So that means I need a variable to hold that pet. So I'm going to do pet of type pet undefined. Okay, I'll explain line 17 in a second. Alright, that means that this component has a pet, and that it will start off as undefined. Now, the reason I'm starting it off with undefined is because when the component first loads, there is no pet, because I have to wait till the API does its thing, gets the pet back. Remember, the API is not instantaneous. It's not like it takes 0 seconds to do something. It takes some time. So it means when the component first loads, there is no pet. It's undefined. Then when the API finally does its thing, then I'll have a pet that I'll be able to show. It also means I need a function to get that pet by ID. So I'm going to just go ahead and do get pet by ID, which takes an ID, which is a number. Alrighty, and so I am then going to do this dot service dot. See how get pet by ID we did earlier comes in handy here. Pass in the ID. I'm going to subscribe to it. Data, it returns a singular pet, not an array of pets. Arrow, this dot pet equals data. Okay, you may be wondering why we use the word data here, because I felt like it. You can use aardvark here. It doesn't matter as long as it's consistent. All right, so when this function is called, then I will be able to get the pet by its ID and then set the current pet to whatever comes back from the API. Now, we need to actually grab that parameter that was passed into this component. So we can do that by using the route. So we're going to do this dot route dot params. I think it's param map. There's different ways to do this. Let's go. Should go into here. Right. Params subscribe. Yep. So we're going to do this. That route dot params. Excuse me. Dot subscribe. All right. So route is that URL we passed in. Right when they click the button, it has parameters. Could have more than one, and we're going to subscribe to it. And then we're going to do basically this. Just going to go ahead and copy and paste this. All right, we're going to take the parameters, and then I'm going to call this function with the ID that was passed in. Remember this ID here? See, I have lowercase I and D that corresponds to this right here. Okay, so you have to make sure that they're the same case, lowercase or uppercase, and that they're spelled the same. So everything has to be the same. So what line 16 means is, hey, grab the route, look for some parameters, and then once you find them, I want to run this function get pet by ID with the parameter that you got. So what's cool about this is that means this function will only get called when Angular has successfully parsed the URL, meaning it's found the parameter. So that means that it'll be a nice smooth experience for the user. All right, so I've got my route, I've got my parameters, I've got my function. All right, I should be able to click, but we need a couple more things. I'm gonna make sure I save everything. Then go to HTML. All right, so actually, let's go back one. So I got this. I need to click on it. So let's go back to list pets first. Go to the HTML for list pets. All right, cool. So this is my button. This A, remember A tags are for links. So I'm going to use router link, which is a built-in Angular directive. So you just, it's part of Angular. You just get it out the box. Equals, and then I'm going to do quotes and brackets. The first argument is the route that I want to go to. We'll begin with a slash, and then we'll go to pet details. So remember, pet details was, I said pet details was here in my routes. Okay, that's where I got that from. Okay, and then I want to pass in the pet's ID. Okay, because remember, the details page needs the ID in order to display the pet. And so when the person clicks on this, they'll be routed to pet details, and they'll pass in the ID. All right, so this button will handle what I need to do to click. So the last thing we need to do is we need to go back to our root component. This just shows a list of pets. I don't want to show this anymore. I want to do what's called router link. Router outlet, excuse me. There we go. So router outlet is, you can think of it like a placeholder. It has no real meaning or look or anything like that. It just holds the current component, whatever that is. So we'll be able to fill in components as we go. So you're going to basically, in a real app, the only thing you're going to really find in your app.component HTML is router outlet and maybe like a nav bar, right? So we should be good. So we've got the router outlet, we got the button. Let's save everything and run our app. And we'll make certain that my Swagger is still running. It still is. Do ng serve. All right, let's give it a whirl. All right, here's my list of pets, and then I'm going to just click on Bonkers. Oh, we forgot to actually make a page for that. So let's go to that first, actually. So we're going to go to pet detail, and we're going to do the HTML file, and then we're going to I don't know, let's just do div class equals row, div class equals column 12, div class equals text center, h1 hello meet. We're gonna say like, hey, meet this pet. All right. So we also want to make sure we only show this if the pet's loaded. So we're going to do div star ng if equals pet does not equals undefined. So that remember when the component first exists, pet will be undefined. So we're going to wait for the API to load the pet before we show any information about it. So I can get rid of this. All right, so I'm going to say, hey, let's meet this pet. And then we're going to go div class equals row. And I'll put the picture on one side. So let's say, I don't know, like it's on like the first, not quite half of the screen. And since it's 12, we have like, what, 7 left. So we'll do the other side will be 7. And then I'll go ahead and put the image of the pet here. Assets. Curly brace pet.image name. Cool. And then we'll put, I don't know, like p pet.breed. We can put a little table here actually. I like that idea. Table class equals table. Yep. And then we'll just do like a little, well, I guess we could do an ordered list, and let's do that actually. UL, unordered list. We'll put the name, we'll put the breed of the pet. We will put the cost of the pet. Was there anything else about the pet I wanted to do? Oh yeah, whether or not they're adopted. Okay, so we'll do an unordered list and then just give some information about the pet so that the person can see. And then underneath that, I will have a little adopt me button saying, hey, don't I look cute, adopt me. Let's save this. Let's review, make sure I did everything I needed to do. Okay, so router link, pet details. Did I call it pet details? Make sure I did that correctly. Oh, that's why. There's an S here. Pet details, plural. All right, make sure this is all saved. Okay, I'm going to do ng serve. Let's take a look. All right, I'm going to click on bonkers. Let's see. Didn't do anything. Cannot match any routes. Pet details 6. Cannot match any routes. Blink, blink, blink. So this might happen. So let me go back. I have to make certain that oops, wrong window. That okay. Pet details : ID. Oh, put an extra S there. See how there's a typo? I put an extra S here. So all right, everything should be hunky dory. Let's meet bonkers. Hello, meet bonkers. And then didn't show the thing. Let's see. Let's go here. Let's go here. Image source equals assets. This should do it. Pet.image name. Did I spell something wrong here? Image source equals assets. I mean, let's just take this whole thing. Like maybe I missed something. Oh, I have an extra, see how typos, guys? An extra curly brace. Let's save this and let's try it again. There we go. So we've got this doesn't look too great. I actually don't really like how this looks at all. Well, at least we've got the picture. We can spruce it up later, but we got the picture of the cat. We've got the name of the cat, its price. We can even make sure this, remember that we have pipes and angular, so we can go like this. So let's go back to the details. And then I can go like this. Currency. So we have that pipe and then currency. And then we'll add the $ sign for us. So that's pretty good. and then a little thing called Adopt Me. So this is our details page. So if you look up here at the URL, it says pet details and 6. This 6 is the ID. This is what Angular is looking at to figure out which pet you want me to display. So we'll do Fido, and then there's Fido. He's a terrier, 170. He's not been adopted yet. This adopt me doesn't do anything. We'll make it do something later. But for right now, you'll be able to use routing to be able to get to a specific thing. If you want to add like a nav bar, again, it's going to look ugly when I do it, but because I don't have the Bootstrap stuff. But let's go ahead and use Bootstrap actually. I'm just going to copy and paste the basic nav bar from them and to show you where to put it. So nav bar. I don't know, let's just pick this one. Alright, I just hit copy here. There's a lot of HTML for the nav bar. That's why they're I went and copied it because I don't want to type all that stuff out myself. Let's go to the base app.component. That is the root. And so above router outlet, I'm just going to put my Bootstrap stuff for my nav bar. And I'm going to save. Let's see how it looks. All right, there we go. So now we have a nav bar at the top of our screen. You can play around with this if you want. Basically, you'll know that the nav bar stays where it is even if I go to a different page, because all that nav HTML went on the top, and then router outlet is whatever the current component is. So the current component here will be pets detail, and then this one is list pets, but they'll always be beneath the nav bar. So that way you'll always be able to have a nice nav bar at the top of your screen for your for the person to be able to go wherever they want to go. And if you want to do a link to another page, remember you're going to use router link. This right here, okay? Router link equals, and you don't have to have you can literally just do the route without a parameter if there is no parameter. So this part's optional depending on what you're doing. All right, that's it for details. This should be enough to get you guys started.